Welcome back everyone, Wally here with a brief overview of last week's Iron Banner. In this video we're going to go over some of the changes that we all saw in effect, the newly introduced items, weapon damage, and of course what we're going to like to see in the future of Iron Banner. So let's get started. New to last week's Iron Banner was the Tempered buff, which cost 1 Mode of Light. It gave you large bonuses to reputation gains of Iron Banner wins and bounty turn-ins, and it got increasingly more powerful as the week went on until the final day at Tuesday at 1 AM Pacific Standard Time. This perk is an excellent way for individuals who really didn't have the time or the ability to play during the week. It gave them the opportunity to push almost to rank 5 during the last weekend in a few hours or so of gameplay. I would say a majority of the community is in agreement with this addition, as it was a fantastic way to award all of the player base that wished to participate in Iron Banner, but did not get an opportunity to play during the week. While some have stated that the bonuses became almost too powerful as the week went on, some players reported wins of over 175 plus rep. The highest I received was 166, and I had the shader, the emblem equipped, and I had some of the gear and the class mark. Of course, all of these things together give more rep plus the tempered buff. It is an undoubtedly excellent way to get everyone involved in the slight change in the PvP variant as we know of that is called Iron Banner. Hopping into damage and stats, this time they matter more. Nothing was more evident in last week's Iron Banner than the stat change up in terms of player level and gun damage. It actually mattered this time around without being too punishing towards players lower than level 27. Players with max gear with a 1463 armor rating and 300 damage weapons definitely ruled the field over their lesser geared counterparts. But as Patrick Casey, one of the staff here on PlanetDestiny, said, gear mattered, but skill still ruled. Nothing was more apparent than that fact, that while gear did carry some heavy benefits, especially when used to explain a more than 3 different level character advantage, if you didn't have the skill to back up your weaponry, players would undoubtedly struggle. This might be a bit of editor's folly, but it felt that this week's Iron Banner was much more balanced than standard Crucible. Now that could be placebo, but I didn't play on a max level 30 character, I only had max level weapons. The Suros, Last Word, and some of the other exotics that players typically have fault in seem to work much less effectively in Iron Banner. Perhaps my experience and the balance were not mutually exclusive, but I'd like to hear what you have to think of Iron Banner and its balance in the comments. Hopping into gear, new gear found its way in the Iron Banner, which gave players the opportunity to purchase 2 shaders, a legendary fusion rifle, a legendary scout rifle, light level 30 gloves, light level 30 boots, along with a class item and some other emblems. Most of these items were incredibly expensive, and instead of costing Crucible marks like other PvP vendors, these cost you your hard-earned glimmer. Unfortunately, all of these items would bankrupt a player due to the 25k cap, something I had experienced for the first time in my entire time playing Destiny. Glimmer has never been a true issue in the game, and making the resource much more of a necessity during Iron Banner does help to show some of its significance, although some would argue that the change is unwelcome. Either way, Iron Banner armor came with a light level 30 on a full upgrade, meaning you could reach light level 30 with them equipped, a first for non-raid, non-exotic gear, and an excellent change. Unfortunately, during Iron Banner this week, I did not have an opportunity to purchase the weaponry as I was broke by the time I had all the gear. However, the team I was playing with, each player I had played with purchased either a fusion rifle or a scout rifle, and they only had great things to say about them. Additionally, at the cost of 1 Mode of Light, Saladin could reforge your weapon, changing the random selection of perks to be more preferable to you, which allowed you to attempt to RNGesus your way to a particular set of awesome perks on any of the Iron Banner weaponry. All in all, excellent additions. The change to this iteration of Iron Banner was a fantastic and wholly welcome. Hopping into suggestions and additions, the true question here is why isn't the Iron Banner Reforged, Rep Gains, and Tempered also applied to New Monarchy, Future War Cult, Dead Orbit, Crucible, and Vanguard? I see no reason why players shouldn't be able to reforge their favorite faction-specific weapons and then apply them in the field. Many amongst the community, myself included, would argue that some of the vendor-specific weapon perk sets are entirely lacking, taking the Iron Banner as a test route for future changes changes to those factions in the game could make players more willing to experience PvP, factions, and missions if bonuses were applied. And there was an obvious way to combat poor perks. All in all, I wouldn't change much about future Iron Banners. The balance felt real. If you outleveled another player, you had an obvious and undeniable advantage over them. But that advantage was only limited to a few levels. They kept lower leveled players out to prevent mismatches through their chaperone system, and if you had leveled weapons, evidently you would do more damage to other players. That was noticeable. The only change I would push for is for an actual iron currency system, which you would be rewarded marks on wins and losses, and those could be redeemed for gear and other prizes. The reason I dislike the current way it is used in Glimmer is because you were not able to purchase everything you wanted with a 25k Glimmer cap. Perhaps that alludes to some of the elusiveness and rarity of these weapons, making you really pick which ones you thought were important. And I can appreciate that, but like everyone else, I want it all. Either this way, last week's Iron Banner has left a future open to fantastic opportunities to enrich and further develop the faction system, weaponry, reforges, and XP bonuses. That will do it for me. For more information on PvP, PvE, and everything in between, stick around. We at Planet Destiny got your back.